Top stories tonight. House of Representatives Committee on Defense begins investigative hearing on Okuama killings. Abuja American School to refund Yahaya Bello's $760,000 children's school fees. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrives Riyadh for World Economic Forum. Rwanda welcomes UK deportation law. Thank you for joining me on the news at this hour. I am Dakbo Adigboye. Let's begin by telling you that the House of Representatives Committee on Defense has commenced its investigative hearing into the killing of 17 military personnel and the wanton destruction of Okuama community at Ewu-Robo Kingdom in the Hueli South local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria. News Central's correspondent Austin Azu completes the report.
The first point of call for the Representatives Committee was the Delta State Government House Asaba to intimate the state governor of their mission.
It is in the light of this unfortunate event that the House of Representatives at its plenary on March 19 debated a motion on the matter and resolved that this committee should investigate the incident and report back to the House for further legislative actions. This is why we are here in Delta State, His Excellency.
Therefore, Nigeria expects a lot from this committee. I have full confidence that this committee will do justice. We believe in justice.
Meanwhile, the investigative hearing is bid to hold at the Government House annexed Ejeba in Warri South local government area of the state. Not many turned up physically, probably due to fear of being arrested by the military. Those who came, including indigents of Okuama community and other interested groups, presented copies of memoranda to the committee. Speaking with journalists, the chairman of the committee assured that the committee would be fair and just in its assignment to the country. Speaking on why the committee had not visited Okuama for on-the-spot assessment of the aftermath, the committee chairman said they needed to be fully armed with all relevant information. He said the committee would continue to receive petitions and presentations from members of the public, particularly residents of Okuama, until next week Friday in its bid to find the true causes of the incident that led to the murder of the soldiers.
And the window is open for a week, so we're still expecting a lot more memorandum from them. We've assured you all, we've assured Mr. Governor that we have the House of Representatives full backing to ensure that this matter is reviewed both sides and come to a logical conclusion.
Recall that on March 14, 17 soldiers were ambushed and killed around the river bank of Okuama community in Ughelli South local government area of Delta State. The military, in a reprisal attack, razed down the community with reports of some civilians killed. In Warri, Delta State, for News Central, Austin Azu.
Joining me on the news to get more clarity on this is our Delta State correspondent, Austin Azu. Austin, thank you for joining me on the news. Now, what do we know concerning this hearing?
Good evening to you. First and foremost, the hearing started yesterday, and very few individuals turned up from the reports we gathered so far. And the hearing is just to unravel the circumstances that took place in Okuama community on March 14, 2024. However, since then, Okuama has no peace, and the place has been deserted. Of course, we equally find out that the residents of Okuama are no longer in Okuama. Most of them now live in bushes and some other relatives' houses within and outside the state. So this investigative hearing will provide opportunity for them to speak to the National Assembly delegates who are in the state to get first-hand information for them to return back to the National Assembly and inform their colleagues of what has happened, the true position of things. Before now, the media has, gone viral with various information from what took place at Okuama on March 14. So vis-a-vis detail the fact that this public hearing will provide another robust opportunity for the people to tell their story in different perspectives so that the world and their own colleagues will be able to tell Nigerians that this is the true position of what happened, not from one particular source that some of them have been fed with over a period of time.
Okay,
But
now,
however, I think, okay, go ahead.
all right. I was just about to ask that what exactly do we or do Nigerians hope to achieve with this investigative hearing? Do we see a situation where at the end of the day, justice, those affected will get some sort of justice? Or do we see a situation where it's just maybe business as usual, following due process without an end in sight?
Well, let me just refer you to what Chinua Achebe said in one of his books, Things Fall Apart, when Abani was invaded by the white men and some other persons couldn't stay in the community anymore. So I believe what the panel have come to do is quite different from other people like the state government or probably like the military who had their panel of acquiring already. So I think it will provide them another veritable platform for them to express themselves and for them to tell their stories in different perspective from what the military panel of acquiring intends to bring to the fore. But however, knowing what has happened, what has transpired in Okuama in recent times, the buildings has been brought down, no life in that community anymore. So they should be able to tell the panel what they want and how. In short, they will tell the panel what they have seen, what they have heard. And don't forget too that the panel, the investigative panel, they are equally soliciting the cooperation of the military, equally calling on the military to be present to present their own paper of memo of understanding of what they know about the activities that took place at Okuama on March 14. Vis-a-vis, there is still hope for the people to return to their ancestral home based on the fact that now that the government wants to begin the IDP camps and thereafter the rebuilding process of Okuama community. And it's very unfortunate that they don't have standing building anymore, standing homes anymore. So it's very unfortunate that they have to start all over again, piece the pieces of their lives and continue life again. There's going to be justice at the end of the day, and they are calling on the federal government, calling on individuals and individuals to come to their rescue to enable them return to their home. Because now where they are now, I don't think they have peace because leaving their families, leaving their homes and attached to somewhere else where they ought to be, it's not really a palatable situation for most of them. So most of them don't mind even if they return home and start life again, even with Tashi's house, just that they want to enjoy that peace they had loved to see after this period.
All right, Austin Azu, thank you so much for being on the news.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, troops of 93 Battalion Subsector 3B of Operation Will Stroke have killed 2 extremists in Osa local government area of Taraba State. The troops, acting on credible intelligence, carried out clearance operations in the Ranonaware and Alaha villages before foiling an attack in the Kwetsi village. Now, the troops had engaged the armed militias with superior firepower, forcing them to retreat in disarray, killing 2 and recovering 1 AK-47 magazine with 7 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition. This is contained in a press statement issued by the Acting Assistant Director, 6th Brigade, Army Public Relations, Oni Onibude. Now, he said the troops of 114 Battalion, Subsector 3C, apprehended 2 suspected extremists in Lao local government area of Taraba State. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in Riyadh, the Saudi Arabian capital, on Friday to participate in the 2024 Special World Economic Forum on Global Collaboration, Growth and Energy for Development. This begins the 2nd leg of his 2-nation tour following his engagement in The Hague, Netherlands. Since Wednesday, over 1,000 leaders from business, government and the academia from more than 90 countries were expected to attend the high-level forum in Riyadh, which is scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. Talks would center around actions taken since the inauguration Growth Summit held in Geneva, Switzerland in 2023. In the meantime, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed renowned banker and businessman Jim Ovia as the chairman of the board of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. The appointment was disclosed in a statement released by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Nganani, on Friday. Nganani noted that the president believes Mr. Ovia will bring his immense wealth of experience and professional stature to this role to advance the all-important vision of ensuring that no Nigerian student suffers precarious end to their pursuit of higher education over a lack of funds. According to the special advisor, Ovia will be tasked with ensuring that Nigerian youths, irrespective of who they are, have access to higher education and skills that will make them productive members of society. Let's also tell you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed Dr. Innocent Barikor as the Director General of the National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency. He also appointed Ebitimi Ambere as the Managing Director / CEO of the Niger Delta River Basin Development Authority. The presidency announced the appointment on Friday in a statement signed by Tinubu's special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Nganani. Borika succeeds Professor Aliyu Jauro, who formerly was president under President Muhammadu Buhari's first appointed in February 2019. Ambari succeeds Dr. Adeni Aremu, whom Buhari first appointed in January 2017. Aremu was reappointed for another 4-year tenure in January 2021. Away from that, motorists in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, have expressed doubt over claims by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to have resolved the logistic challenges responsible for persistent scarcity of petrol in the capital. Now, many of them say the scarcity is becoming unbearable as they have to spend long hours in queues despite paying higher for the product. Now, Joseph Edom tells us more.
It's been 5 days now since the fuel queues resurfaced in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and this is despite assurances by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited that the logistical challenges which is responsible for the scarcity has been resolved.
Some motorists have had to queue for hours in the few petrol stations that have fuel to sell, lamenting the persistent hardship that they face.
From that signpost, you can see the short distance to this place, spending 3.5 hours. I don't understand.
You can see my body, man. I'm sweating. I've been in this queue for, say, 2 hours now. So it's been a while.
For the past 2 days now, I've been looking for where to get this fuel. And this is one of the filling stations that I'm even hoping, if I told it to come to pass, that I'm going to get fuel.
Now it stays in Kubwa. My coming to the town this morning to the office, I know what people were passing through along the road. And I don't see no reason why in my own country, something that I have, I will be passing through this kind of stress.
With several productive hours wasted in queues just to get petrol, Nigerians have expressed doubt over claims that the challenge responsible for the scarcity has been resolved. They urge the NNPC to come out clean.
The government know what it takes to do for fuel to be available. And they come up with, say, logistic problem. Where is the logistic problem coming from? Is it from the independent marketers or from the NNPC or where they are?
We've known over the years that they're not really reliable in terms of giving the citizens what they should know. So there's always propaganda, there's always this notion that we can deceive the citizens and nothing is going to happen.
Before you make statement that, be sure of what you are saying, because the people you are talking to, they are not fools. They are human beings like you. We voted for you to do the right thing, not to do the wrong things. As far as I'm concerned, look at Nigerians. Look at the way people are suffering.
Nigerians have called for an end to the recurring scarcity of petrol. They say the NNPC must live up to its responsibilities. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
Coming up on the news tonight, 11 workers trapped in Kano building collapse. Of course, we have details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. If you have just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. House of Representatives Committee on Defense begins investigative hearing on Okuama killings. Abuja American School to refund Yahaya Bello's $760,000 children's school fees. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrives Riyadh for World Economic Forum. Rwanda welcomes UK's deportation law. Let's continue with the news. Now, former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, has clarified what he deemed misleading allegations surrounding the payment of school fees for his children. Recall that the controversy began on Tuesday when the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, alleged that Bello withdrew funds from the Kogi State government account to pay his children's school fees just before leaving office. In response to the allegations, the embattled former governor in a statement said he did not pay the sum of $720,000 as alleged by the EFCC boss, or $840,000 as is being bandied about on the internet. The statement also said the payment of the fees was not effected around the time Bello was to leave office, as claimed by the EFCC boss, but commenced in 2021. In the meantime, the American International School of Abuja has asked the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to provide authentic banking details for the refund of fees paid for the children of Yahaya Bello, immediate past governor of Kogi State. Bello allegedly paid $720,000 in advance as fees for 5 of his children from the coffers of the Kogi State government. The children are in grade levels 2 to 8 at the school. On April 17th, the FCC operatives laid siege on Bello's residence in Abuja in an attempt to arrest him over an alleged 80.2 billion naira fraud. In a letter addressed to the Lagos Zonal Commander of the EFCC, the school said the sum of $845,852 has been paid in tuition since the 7th of September 2021 to date. Now, to discuss this, I'm joined on the news by legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, Tunji Abdul Hamid. Thank you for your time, Tunji.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
All right. Now, just to start off the conversation, let me take your blanket opinion on the back and forth between the former Kogi State governor and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
I think it's an unfortunate event, and it's becoming a drama of such, as far as I'm concerned. Because in the first place, I don't think Yahaya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State, has any right to be protected from responding to the invitation of EFCC. He has no right, as far as I'm concerned, because he's being called upon to come and answer questions regarding to crime, corruption, public abuse of public office. And so if you are being called to come and answer questions regarding corrupt practices or abuse of office, that cannot be said to be fundamental rights. I don't know why the judge will grant that interim injunction, restraining anybody or the agency of government responsible for enforcement of law from prosecuting or in fighting or interrogating or whatever they say. Former governor. You can only say your right has been infringed if those rights falls within section 33 to section 42 of the Constitution. Right to fair hearing, right to assemble, right to this and that. Those are not the issue here. The issue here is clearly about corruption, and it's within the power of the EFCC to invite you to come and ask a question. If those questions have been, if he has attended to that to those invitations they say they gave to me, probably the issue of further bank regarding the payment of school fees will have been resolved. You'll have been able to explain to them. They'll be able to know this is what happened. So, secondly, on the part of EFCC, the way and manner they want to arrest him, I think, even though, like I said earlier, that he has no right to be protected, but another has been granted by the court. Once another is granted by the court, whether rightly or wrongly, you are bound to obey it. So, he did not obeying that order by the FCC. He disrespects to court order. So the only thing the FCC can do is to appeal against it, not to disregard it and say, no, we are not going to obey it because we are aware that the Supreme Court said no court can restrain them from doing their job. That's not the way to go. You go to court, ask the court to vacate it, and that's the way to go. So, but and again, you want to go arrest him, you are prevented by security agencies attached to him. Who are these security agencies that we're talking about? We're talking about the police. We're talking about the DSS. Who controls them? The IGP controls the police. The DG of SSS control the DSS people. Why can't you collaborate with the head of these agencies before going ahead to say what to arrest him? You can even ask those security agencies around him to arrest him. But they didn't do that. They dramatized it. They went there, laid siege on in his house, and then we see what I see. For me, it's all about drama, and I don't think we are serious about fighting corruption in this country.
I mean, talking about drama, we are seeing a situation, and this is not the first time, where it looks like the judiciary is being used as some sort of a pendulum swing, where each party seems to just go to any court available to seek some sort of protection, either for access or to bar access. My question to you is this. I mean, do you see an abuse of the judiciary here?
It's not. The judiciary is allowing himself to be abused. That is it. That's just it. Because a judge should know that you cannot talk about fundamental rights when the issue of criminal allegation is an issue. The only area where you can talk about fundamental rights is when you talk about civil rights. If, for example, Mr. A is saying Mr. B is owing him money and he has not paid, and he went and used a DSS or police to arrest Mr. B, you can be talking about fundamental rights. That's outside the scope of work of EFCC. But when it comes to criminal investigation, it is within their rights. So if a judge and a lawyer will file an action in that regard to ask for a restraining order, and the judge will grant it, I think it's unfortunate. And we are having this because we have seen so many of these kind of orders that have not been, and nothing has happened to those people who are involved. The lawyer will not be punished. The judge will not be punished. No question will be asked regarding what have happened. This is a case that I expect NJC or whoever is at the NB to investigate those who fight the case. And the reason and the judge who granted that the order, they must be investigated. Otherwise, we'll continue to see this all the time. We have our court is now as allowed as is a place whereby once you have the ability, you have the capacity, or you have the influence, you can turn whatever you want to turn into. You can turn black to white in a jiffy. So and it's no longer about the law itself. They now make the law look like those who are working based on law don't know anything. Those who know the judges and who know the judges are now the one making ways, and that's how people will be looking for a particular lawyer to do a job for him, because they know how to get the result, whether rightly or wrongly. That's why it's unfortunate that we're having this, and it's happening, like I said again, because people are not being punished. If we see people that are being punished for this, people will restrain them from doing it, but nobody will punish. You will see no question will be asked. And even when a question is asked, after a week or so, we forget about it. This Yahaya Bello scenario or whatever, now, from week, I give you a week or two, another issue will come up, and then we'll forget this, and that will be the end of it. And then we won't see anything.
All right, Tunji Abdul Hamid, thank you so much for your time on the news.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Now, an ongoing building has collapsed in Kuntao, that's Gwali local government area of Kano State. The total number of victims have not been ascertained, but eyewitnesses say at least 11 persons might have been trapped under the rubble. It was gathered that 2 of the victims have been rescued and rushed to the hospital by the officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps, who are still carrying out rescue operations at the scene of the collapse. However, the evacuation efforts continued unabated, with respondents laboring tirelessly to locate and rescue anyone remaining trapped under the rubble. Now, the exact cause of the collapse remains unknown, prompting local authorities to initiate a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the incident. The federal government has announced the commencement of demolition for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road project. This is according to the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Korede Keisha. Now, Keisha revealed that notices have been issued to residents residing within the designated right-of-way, urging them to take necessary actions ahead of the demolition process. This ambitious project aims to connect Lagos to Cross River, spanning a distance of 700 kilometers and crossing through several states. With an estimated cost of 15 trillion naira, The road is poised to transform transportation infrastructure in the region. The first phase of demolition targeting properties within the initial 3 kilometers is set to commence this Saturday. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us. Inclusive governance, education, and awareness campaigns in communities in Nigeria's northeast will help promote sustainable peace in the region. This was the consensus position during a validation workshop of the Center for Peace, Diplomatic and Development Studies, University of Maiduguri, on the assessment of social cohesion for peaceful coexistence amongst communities in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Now, News Central's Umaru Kerawa completes the report.
With the echoes of the over a decade-long Boko Haram conflict in Nigeria's northeast gradually fading away, communities are now picking up the pieces of their lives after the traumatic experience. Center for Peace, Diplomatic and Development Studies of the University of Maiduguri engaged stakeholders on social cohesion in the northeast to discuss the problems and identify solutions. They emphasized that inclusive governance structures can help address the underlying causes of conflict, promote equal representation, and provide a platform for dialogue and collaboration among communities.
Our participation in such a program will go a long way in deepening and sustaining peace.
We are here to validate what has been happening in our community. That is to tell you, without peaceful coexistence, I believe each and every one of us here know it very well, things will not go well in our society.
But I think we must salute our security services for their continuous determination to ensure that law and order is restored in the region.
During the validation workshop, participants emphasized the need to educate communities about the importance of peaceful coexistence, conflict prevention, and resolution. The experts highlighted the importance of targeting these campaigns towards diverse groups, including women, youth, and religious leaders.
The mandate of community service is what the university is trying to achieve through these kind of programs. And right from the beginning of the insurgency, the university has been thinking on how to come in to help the country on how to solve this problem.
We believe in peace building. If we can achieve a stronger social cohesion, we could go a long way in achieving peace.
Education and awareness campaigns are seen as essential tools to change mindset, to promote a culture of tolerance, dialogue, and understanding. By addressing the root causes of conflict and promoting peaceful means of resolving disputes, these campaigns aim to create an environment conducive to sustainable peace. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The National Summit on Justice 2024 has adopted the proposed national policy on Justice 2024 to 2028, expected to serve as a roadmap for justice sector reforms in the country. The summit, which came to an end in Abuja, adopted several key recommendations proposed by participants, all focused on improving the nation's justice sector.
The general consensus reached by this panel was that the role of the NJC in discharging its responsibility for judicial appointments into the Superior Courts of Record required significant review. There was a concern expressed about the fact that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who is the chairman of the NJC, is also the chairman of the Federal Judicial Service Commission, which is the body that initially reviews proposals or lists of candidates for appointment into judicial office. The members pointed out the seeming inconsistency between the Chief Justice of Nigeria playing both those roles, as it would appear that he was then recommending candidates to himself, being chairman of both bodies, and being the person who appoints a significant number of the members.
Let's move to political matters now, where the internal crisis within the opposition New Nigerian People's Party may have taken a different turn as party leaders, largely affiliated with the Rabiu Kwakwanso faction, confirmed the removal of some of the founding party leaders as members of the party, including Dr. Boniface Anebolam. Speaking on News Central's program, The Conversation, NNPP spokesperson Ladipo Johnson had this to say.
Who will say that the decisions of NEC or of the National Working Committee, he will revokes the decisions single-handedly. Is that democratic? It's not even in the Constitution. And let me just quickly tell you that they've gone to court, and in about 4 of those cases, judgment has gone against them. So right what now, they should be telling people when they're talking about actions, we don't have a faction, is that, oh, we believe we should be. We have been to court, we've lost. We're hoping we'll go to the court.
Still ahead, South Sudan Foreign Minister sacked less than a year in office. We have details of this and more after the break. The news continues in East Africa, where South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has sacked his foreign affairs minister, who had been in office for less than a year. James Morgan, who was appointed last August, was dismissed in a presidential decree read out on state television. Before becoming foreign minister, Morgan was South Sudan's ambassador to Ethiopia. He has now been replaced by his former deputy, Ramadan Abdullah Gotch. The president appointed Morgan as his envoy for the Great Lakes region. The president also dismissed Mayan Wool Dut, the long-serving undersecretary for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and appointed him as South Sudan's new ambassador to China. The Rwandan government has hailed the United Kingdom's Parliament's passage of a new law allowing them to send undocumented migrants to the East African country for asylum processing. Alan Bernard, a deputy Rwandan government spokesperson, called it a satisfactory decision. Meanwhile, asylum seekers housed on an accommodation barge on the coast of southern England say they're afraid of being sent to Rwanda after a controversial proposal for deportation was approved. Designed to accommodate up to 500 asylum seekers, the house has been controversial because of complaints about conditions on board. Let's move to the business desk for today's business news.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
On business tonight, according to Westcom, South Africa's power utility, load shedding this winter is expected to be limited to stage 2 outages and, in the worst case scenario, stage 5. Eskom CEO Dan Marokande presented the winter 2024 outlook, stating that the utility's performance has significantly improved over the past year, putting it in a stronger position compared to last year. Eskom has reduced unplanned losses by 9% and unit breakdowns by 19%, leading to fewer and less intense load shedding incidents. The utility aims to further reduce unplanned losses and implements demand-side management initiatives to limit load shedding to stage 2. However, in an extreme case with breakdowns exceeding 17,000 megawatts, load shedding could reach stage 5 over 103 days. Eskom is targeting a 70% energy availability factor by the year 2025. Elsewhere, in response to the food crisis in Malawi caused by El Nino conditions in the wider southern African region, the World Bank announced on Friday that it would provide $57.6 million in quick release grant financing to the country. The support aims to assist Malawi in addressing the severe erosion of food security at the national level, exacerbated by a series of intense disaster events in recent years. The World Bank acknowledges the pressing need for assistance and emphasizes the urgency of the situation. By providing this grant financing, the World Bank aims to help Malawi respond to the food crisis and mitigate the impact of the challenging circumstances it is facing. In West Africa, telecommunications operators in Nigeria, including MTN Nigeria and Globacom, have requested approval from the Nigerian Communications Commission to increase their tariffs. This request follows foreign exchange losses and rising energy costs, which led some operators to report losses last year. The telcos, represented by the Association of Licensed Telecom Companies of Nigeria and the Association of Telecom Companies of Nigeria, urged the government to expedite the approval process. They emphasized the need for a constructive dialogue to address pricing challenges and establish a framework that balances the consumer affordability with operators' financial viability. The NCC regulates telecom prices and is conducting a cost-based study to determine whether to approve the proposed tariff increments. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has reached an agreement with the African Refinery Port Harcourt Limited for the subscription of 15% equity stake by ARPHL in the Port Harcourt Refining Company. These agreements will increase the refining capacity of the Port Harcourt Refinery from 210,000 barrels per day to 310,000 barrels per day. The Port Harcourt Refining Company is one of the 3 national refineries managed by NNPCL, along with the Warri and Kaduna refineries. The agreement was signed by the Managing Director of ARPHL and the Executive Vice President downstream NNPCL. The project is estimated to cost over $2 billion and is expected to commence construction in 2025, with commercial operations targeted for the year 2027. And that's all on business news. There's still more to come, so don't go away. I am Lekon Onabanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Up next is sport.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
In the world of sport, Rivers Hoopers are wrapping up their preparations ahead of the highly anticipated Sahara Conference opener of the Basketball Africa League. The Nigerian champions are poised to commence their campaign on May 4th at the Dakar Arena in Senegal, where they will clash with Senegal's AS Douane and the runners-up for the 2023 Basketball Africa League. Following their opener against AS Douane, Rivers Hoopers will have back-to-back matches facing APR on May 5th and US Minister on May 7th in the initial round of the matches. In the subsequent round, they will meet AS Douane again on May 9th for a rematch, followed by a showdown with APR 2 days later. Coach Odaudu and the players, they are brimming with optimism, confident that the team will rise to the occasion in the upcoming conference fixtures. The Basketball Africa League 2024 will feature 12 teams divided into 3 conferences, the Kalahari, the Nile, and the Sahara Conference. The top 2 teams from each conference, along with the best 2 third-place teams, will advance to Kigali for 4 seeding games, followed by an 8-game single elimination playoff and finals from May 24 to June 1st, 2024, all to be held at the BK Arena in Senegal. Moving away from that, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has said that the 15th edition of the Women's African Cup of Nations (WAFCON), billed for Morocco in 2024, will go ahead despite the dark clouds hovering over the staging of the competition this year. The disclosure was made by a top official of CAF, head of television and broadcasting commercial, Olu September, who was a guest on the cable television program Soccer Africa, which is a broadcast from South African studios of the media giant. According to September, the final decision of the date for the WAFCON 2024 and the AFCON 2025, both billed for Morocco, will be made in a few weeks by the Confederation of African Football Hierarchy, adding that the crowded football schedules in 2024 have affected football competitions globally. Away from that, USM Algiers Club delegation has arrived Morocco through the Oujah Angad Airport. They were warmly welcomed by Moroccan officials led by the president of the Professional National League. The team arrived around 5 p.m. aboard a special plane from Algiers. Also on the hand to receive them were officials from Berkane. It took the Algerians just 15 minutes from landing to leave in the airport. They were greeted by a large number of fans. The decision to play the second leg in Berkane comes as USM Alger seeks to avoid additional sanctions from Confederation of African Football CAF, which could lead to a ban participating from the African competition up to 4 years. The Algerians are looking to overturn a 3-0 deficit awarded to RS Berkane in the both first leg match. The return leg match will hold on Sunday at the Berkane Municipal at 8 p.m. Finally, in the world of sport, concerns have been raised with the United States government, including an official meeting in the White House, over fears of supporters that they may be deterred from the 2026 Men's World Cup, owing to excessive wait times to process visa applications to visit the country. The tournament begins in 777 days, and it will be the least another 18 months before many countries will be assured of qualification. Yet, the wait times for U.S. visa interviews in 2 Mexican cities are already in excess of 800 days, while it is 685 days in the Colombian capital of Bogota. In a statement, the U.S. Department of State, which oversees international relations, insisted that it is determined to reduce wait times, but also encourage supporters in affected countries to start applying for visas now. Over 2 years out from the tournament, and with the lineup still unknown, the 2026 edition of the World Football Governing Body FIFA's flagship tournament will include 48 nations for the first time, and it will be held in 16 cities in the US, Canada, and Mexico. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile. Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
In entertainment, South African rapper Casper West, also known as Casper, is raising awareness about the country's high rates of violence. His comments follow musician Kabza De Small cancelling an event due to safety concerns. Taking to Twitter, Casper expressed frustrations highlighting the increasing hate that leads to such violence. He called for unity and hope, emphasizing the need for prayer and divine intervention. His remarks echo the widespread concern among South Africans regarding the country's violence, exemplified by Kabza De Small's event cancellation. And now away from the continent, Flavor Flav recently defended Jelly Roll after the country star's wife revealed he quit social media due to bullying about his weight. In a new interview, Jelly Roll clarified that while he appreciates the support, his decision was also about the toxicity and addiction of social media. He's taken a break for now, focusing on his mental health. Jelly Roll is set to debut at Stagecoach, where he plans to premiere new material, taking his performance very seriously. And that's all we'll take on entertainment tonight. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll bring you the updates on what's trending tonight. Now let's talk about what's trending. In the midst of Nigeria's economic challenges, social media was ablaze today with discussions on how to revitalize the country's economy. Reno Omokri sparked debates with a post proposing the hashtag Grow Naira by Naija principle, advocating for support of local products and services to strengthen the Naira. Now, while many welcomed the idea, others raised concerns about its practicality and effectiveness in addressing Nigeria's complex economic issues. Let's take some reactions to this story on X now. So this is the tweet from Reno Omokri saying, "Dear citizens of Nigeria, bear me witness, is this not what I have been advocating for in the past 1 year? Hashtag Grow Naira by Naija. Forget about MTN, DSTV, and other foreign companies who produce what we can produce domestically. Call with Glow, Drive Node, build with Dangote and BUA, eat breakfast with NASCO, lunch and dinner with grown-in Nigeria rice, go on dates at Tantalizers and Suya Sports, drink Zobo, celebrate with palm wine, shop at local markets, eat cassava, and so many of those other things that he listed. Now, let's get the reactions to these tweets. Kayode is saying, so what happens to employees of these companies? What happens to the contributions of these companies to Nigeria in terms of tax payments? Why should foreign investors invest in Nigeria knowing that their products and services will not be bought because they are not Nigerians? And then we have another tweet from God's Favor saying, so after doing these, poverty will now decrease. There will be jobs too. People far older than the country are occupying top positions and they are not ready to retire anytime. Young, vibrant teens are not put into consideration. Government should leave dollar and create jobs, I beg. We have another tweet from Abdul saying, yes, we bear witness with you, sir, but we need the government to do more when it comes to small businesses because the price of fuel and the hike in electricity tariffs and the unavailability of the electricity itself isn't helping us to grow. It is killing our business. And then our last tweet from, oh, this is our last tweet, okay. So that's all we can take tonight on what's trending, but you can share your thoughts as well. Do you agree with this? Share your thoughts across our social media platforms at News Central TV. I am Jadel Simon.
And that's all tonight, but before we go, another look at some of our top stories. We told you that House of Representatives Committee on Defense has begun investigative hearing on Okuama killings. Abuja American School to refund Yahaya Bello's 760,000 children's school fees. And also President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived Riyadh for the World Economic Forum. And finally, we also told you that Rwanda has welcomed UK's deportation law. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live across these platforms: DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Apple TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dakbo Adigboyi. Good night.